My name is Lanny Swerdlow. I'm a registered nurse and an advocate for the use of cannabis for its health and medical benefits. I have written a number of articles for magazines and newspapers about that very subject, and that's what we're going to be covering right now. Some very interesting uses of cannabis that will improve your health and make your life better. Over the last 20 years, between 14,000 and 27,000 Americans died every year as a direct result of their use of prescription pharmaceuticals. We don't hear about that very often unless it's a high-profile celebrity that dies from an overdose of prescription pharmaceuticals. One of the most recent, of course, was Michael Jackson. But the high-profile celebrity I want to talk about was Heath Ledger. Ledger's death galvanized the American public, but the underlying cause of his death wasn't talked about very much. In a special issue of Entertainment magazine, they talked about Heath Ledger's life and his death in very graphic terms. Not shying away from the circumstances of his death, the authors of the article wrote that Heath Ledger died from an accidental toxic combination of prescription pharmaceuticals, anti-anxiety medications, and sleeping pills. An accidental toxic combination. Heath Ledger didn't die from an overdose. Heath Ledger took these medications exactly as prescribed by his medical doctors. But they reacted with each other. They interacted with each other to produce some kind of deadly chemistry that wound up killing Heath Ledger. Now, the authors of this story went on to interview a number of people who had very close associations with Heath Ledger during his life. One of them was Terry Gilliam. He was the director of one of his early films, The Brothers Grimm. And in the statements that Terry Gilliam made, one really caught my eye, and that was a statement where he said, marijuana was no longer in his life, which he had enjoyed a bit. Marijuana was no longer in his life, which he had enjoyed a bit. Now, the article didn't talk about why he stopped using marijuana. You could probably figure that out for yourself. You know, a high-profile movie star doesn't want, afraid of getting arrested with marijuana, and they get some newspapers, so he stopped using marijuana. Even though he liked it, he stopped using it. Now, what were the drugs, what was the reason that Heath Ledger was taking all these prescription pharmaceuticals to kill them? Pain relief, anti-anxiety relief, and to get a good night's sleep. Now, what are the absolute classic uses of cannabis? Pain relief, anti-anxiety, getting a good night's sleep. If Heath Ledger had not stopped using marijuana, if he continued to enjoy it like he did, he would not have needed as many or any of those prescription painkillers, those prescription anti-anxiety medications, or those prescriptions insomnia medications, because he would have been getting all the relief and treatment he needed from cannabis. When he stopped using cannabis and instead turned to these prescription pharmaceuticals, that's what killed him. If he had kept using marijuana, which he had enjoyed a bit, if he had kept on using marijuana, he would not needed anywhere near as many of those prescription pharmaceuticals, and he'd still be alive today making movies and accepting Academy Awards.